What's going on, y'all? This is Greg with Greg Said It. We're back with another one here. I have to apologize. Somehow, what was on Sunday, my inspirational motivational. I don't know what happened. I had the live early. We had a nice live earlier on Sunday, and I usually come back with inspirational motivation Sunday. And I don't know why. Every now and then, I don't lost track, and I didn't get that done. Charges to my head, not my heart. But today, just dissecting. Time is definitely moving quick. It's already about to be March. The Buffs are about to start their training in a couple weeks, the spring training, and it's a beautiful thing. We have new people, new content creators. We have some older content creators, and we all have our own little thing. I'm really enjoying some of the newer content creators, bringing out some of the film dissection, and everybody just doing their thing, and just kind of watching everything. Still the season hasn't started, so everybody's kind of guessing what Colorado gonna be. It's like, wow, they really just underestimating Colorado. Like they over in the Big 12, and it's kind of like same thing in Pac-12, maybe a little better, like a one ranking better, but they you're seeing the potential people who can go to the playoff. You seeing these rankings. Colorado's like no chance, way at the bottom. You see several other Big 12 teams that most of us feel like Colorado will beat. Being higher ranked in the conference than Colorado. It's going to be an interesting year, I'm going to tell you. Probably even more interesting than last year. Because last year, well, what can you say? You was 1-11. And I'm not saying 4-8 is better, but I'm just saying, like, they really didn't have the talent that they have now. So when you look at now, it's like, what is y'all excuse? Like, am I missing something? Make me question myself in a sense. Because, like, what's going on? Like, are these teams that much better? Can't be that many juggernauts out there. Now, Colorado have their things, right? Colorado have their challenges. And there's a lot of things that are yet to be seen. Like, how they're going to jail. I don't know how much I can count that against them, though, when you look at the talent. But it is a thing, how long it's going to take the new offensive line to jail. How long it's going to take for the new defensive line to jail. How long is it going to take for them to get the understanding of the new offense, and the new defense. We got a new offensive line coach. There's a lot of newness going on, and I don't know how much that overrides talent. I really don't. I try not to put too much weight on one side or the other and try to be open. But what really gets me is, do you really, really expect Colorado to lose 4 or 5 games? A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people say Colorado could be 7-5. If they've been nice, 8-4. Now, I feel like the last season, that pretty much was their record, if you really look at it, 7-5. So if you're basing it on last year, technically, they lost those games. But you look at some games that was kind of snubbed on, including the last one. The record was better than 4-8. So are you really looking at what they did last year as the basis, or are you truly looking at what they got this year? And what makes you feel like that Big 12 is much better than what they faced in the Pac-12? A couple of the guys came over from Pac-12, and they're getting a lot more respect, which is interesting. Arizona is getting a lot more respect, even with the new coach. We also seen Utah with the quarterback who haven't played in really last season and a half. I don't know. He hasn't played. He got hurt. So, and we don't know how he's going to play, which is interesting. That if that was Shador, a lot of quarterbacks, they would say, let's wait and see. But they ranking him like, and his team as if it's guaranteed he's going to come back and perform like he did a couple years ago. And I just don't understand. I feel like Utah's overrated. I know they played the reserves, but a lot of ours was out there. They didn't play like a juggernaut. They didn't play like a powerhouse team, and the fact they stole that game makes me have even less respect. Because if you're a real powerhouse, your 4th string should be down there first, like Georgia or somebody. So you're getting so much clout, you're getting so much weight on, oh, they're gonna win the conference. How they can just come over the first year and win the conference? You put that much respect on them. They didn't even win the conference last year. And yeah, they didn't have a quarterback, but it's just, they wasn't going to beat Oregon with Cam Rising. It wasn't going to beat Washington with Cam Rising. So if they're able to just come over here and take over the Big 12, the first year with a hurt quarterback, how do you say that this conference is so dominant that Colorado is like sixth or something like that? It's weird. And this wasn't even really what I was going to talk about, because that could be a whole video in itself. But that's just some of the things I'm seeing. And it really connects, because I feel like Colorado is very underrated. And I know they got some pieces of the puzzle that's not quite identifiable, but it's two players that I'll say are the most underrated players as far as what people see, but they're not underrated in the stats. They're not underrated in the rankings, because if I'm not mistaken, it's two players. It's actually two brothers from what is called a group of 5 school, yet they're the top transfers. We have the top linebacker in the transfer, top linebacker from a group of 5, top rated linebacker on our team. Webster brother, I call Webster brother number 2. He's a young guy. They call him undersized, yet some very good linebackers he's ahead of in his rankings. He's a very sound tackler and clearly has a very good football IQ. As a linebacker, we should understand that, because we complain greatly about the linebacker play at CU. That's one of our biggest complaints that we've come to outside of the offensive line. Linebackers ran around like they was blind as a bat, high as a kite one. They just ran through the wrong holes, and very few people acknowledge that. Some people did, if you really know football. A lot of people, oh, they're good. Trevor Woods good. Bentley's good. And West, they hard. They're good guys. They work hard. They're ideal players. They got good attitudes. But Lord, I just wish somebody coach them. I don't know. I don't want to say it's Coach Hart, but who else can we say? Because these are veteran guys. I mean, Trevor Woods was kind of new to position, but Bentley, he came from Clemson. I don't know what to say. That's your guy on the field, the main guy, your starter, and he ended up being a starter after going through several other guys, and he ended up being that guy. And yet, he's your best, but he can't read. I mean, they just basic reading, like just basic, going to the right gap, reading, scraping and reading was not there. But that's not the case with Webster. And probably a couple other young guys that's coming in. And I'd rather put a young guy, undersized guy out there who at least going to be in the right place than a big old burly guy who's nowhere near the ball and can't read. Especially when you saying that they have some run heavy and run strong teams that we can shut down their run. They don't have a chance of beating us. And I feel like maybe he came from a bigger school. I don't know what it takes, but the rankings respect him as a linebacker. And we talk about, we don't have a linebacker. All we got is this guy and keeps my bench. But that guy there is proven where he come from. That's why he's here. And as long as he's in the right place, making the play, he don't have to be the biggest guy. Just be in the way and help that line. And with that, that's the defensive side of the ball. And it's a wonderful thing, because on the other side of the ball is his brother. His brother's a slot receiver. They both was at FIU. Was at FAU. And what we're seeing is this guy, if you were to look at the tape, he very fast, very explosive. I mean, his route running, he gets up on you and he put a move on you, and he was making even Clemson look bad. And Clemson wasn't the worst team last year. I mean, they could have beat Florida State if they could have made a simple field goal. So, they wasn't the worst team in ACC. And he destroyed Clemson. He probably could have had, upper 100s and the 200s of yards. I think he had over 100 yards and over 10 catches. And this is against Clemson, and with a very subpar quarterback. No disrespect, but he's no Shador. And a lot of times he was open and the line couldn't hold up, or the quarterback just didn't have enough sense to throw it to him, or just didn't have the time, maybe sometimes. So you got to see the fact that he was very productive to the point he led the conference in yards and catches. And maybe, he's like number 3 in touchdowns. but he's a very reliable receiver. He's very smart, very skilled in route running. And when you got a quarterback who can recognize that, and you don't have to just depend on Travis to be open, but then you got Will Shepherd coming as well, he's going to make it very hard for a defense, because doubling and tripling him has to happen. And he's in the slot, so he's going to eat the middle of the field up. Safety is going to have to always be aware of who he is, so they're not going to be able to go and double team, Will Shepherd or Travis Hunter or whoever else is out there. So he's creating a matchup nightmare, because that little nickel guy is not going to cover him. He's going to always be open. And if they give him help, they're going to have to leave somebody on the island with the Will Shepherd. And I don't see people not getting that. They're not putting that together. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they're not paying attention. But when you partner them guys up, I don't know if you put them on the same side of the ball or you put them on the opposite side of the ball. But however that's going to happen, the fact that you got both of those guys on the field at the same time, and then you consider the fact you got a Travis Hunter, it's going to be electric out there, man. And you add the fact that Shedeur have time to get on the ball. Basically what I'm saying is these two guys are the most underrated guys, because they answer two of the biggest issues, really, outside of the offensive line, the receivers and the option routes and all of that, and them not getting open. When you look at the fact that this guy always gets open, he's probably going to be, if not the leader in the conference again, because his stats, he would have led the conference. He would have led the Big 12. His stats from last year with a mediocre quarterback. This guy is pretty much the favorite. He's the favorite to be the leading receiver in the conference and one of the top receivers in the country, if not the number one. If he has a guy who's able to know what he's able to do in a scheme that's available, that they get the ball to him, not only is he an All-American punt returner, but he's a top-tier receiver. And you add the fact that you have a top-tier receiver on the field with a Travis Hunter, with a Will Shepherd, and a host of other guys that can come out there. I don't know what people thinking. How could you beat Colorado? You're going to have to outscore them. That means your little running game is going to have to do more than just eat up clock. Because you get behind, it's a wrap. You're going to have to throw the ball. And if the defense just do, like I've said, the most basic job of making you score less than them, and they pull away from you with these receivers, I don't know how you're going to say, unless the line just olay like they did last year, how do you beat Colorado? How do you be so confident that they're going to lose 5-6 games? How do you put them at so far down in the conference, like you at the SEC or somebody? And the only way you really going to whoop Colorado is in the trenches. And I just don't think their trenches is that weak. Their trenches is definitely not the trenches from last year. And they may not be SEC worthy. But if that offensive coordinator uses that talent that they have and get them the ball in space and get Dylan Edwards the ball in space, don't do that silly crap they did last year, and get these young boys like Draylon Miller the ball in space. Young guys that can get the ball and run. I don't get it. They clearly don't know, and they won't know. I'm just talking football. I'm not talking super fan. What are you basing it on? You basing on them just busting through that line? They're not gonna bust through that line. I'm just gonna tell you, the middle is gonna be a lot different. You're gonna have Myers there. You're gonna have Tyler Brown in there. You're gonna have that interior is gonna be strong. So you're not gonna just be busting through there like that. This is not them kind of guys. If we question the tackles, I don't think Seaton's gonna miss a lot of blocks. I don't think Johnson's gonna miss a lot of blocks. I think Connor want to get in on hungry, so he's gonna have some depth. I just don't see if Shedeur put up the type of numbers. He put up the numbers last year with the horrible line, limping and all. If you could barely keep up with them to the point where they only lost games by 7 points, 3 points, in a conference where, for the most part of the season, 8 of the 12 was ranked in the top 25. Let's have a real conversation. See, that what Greg Savitt has real conversation. We do the data, we do the stats, we do the video. We do all of that good stuff. We know who coming, who leaving. But let's use common sense. let's use common sense. How do you say that this team is going to have a similar record to what they should have had last year or could have had last year with the new talent that they have in, with the new line, with the new D line? How do you say they're going to have a similar result? How do you say they're going to just win 1 or 2 more games more than they did last year? And they really could have won 1 or 2 more games last year with the team they had. That's what I'm not understanding. And it's almost like we're going to have this conversation because I'm not getting it. And I don't want to prolong on this or harp on this. But what are you all looking at? We're going to keep looking at these guys. But I'm going to tell you, these 2 additions to the team are like 10. Because that one receiver is going to be so productive. As long as he stay healthy, he's going to be so productive. And he may even be helpful in the special teams with his punt return. He's All-American. So when you look at the fact that he can eat up that kind of yards, that's something we didn't have last year. We had Xavier Weaver, Travis Hunter was next. Or Horn did decent, but he wasn't eating up, a lot of yards like that. He did score some big scores. And he can plug into the system. But if you look at the fact that Will Shepherd is Xavier Weaver's replacement, we didn't have a Weber last year, a Wester. We didn't have a Wester last year. So that's an upgrade in the receiver room. A 2 high-quality receivers on the field with possibly a Travis Hunter, with possibly a Amarion Miller. And we still got Timmons. We still got Russell, Baby T.O. You still got some big receivers. If this coach know how to use his tools the right way, it got to be his fault if they lose. It got to be the coach's fault if they lose at this point because they got the weapons. They got the quarterback. They got the receivers. And their running game is going to be solid. So I don't see how everybody's so comfortable thinking they're just going, Colorado going to lose 3-4 games. Based off of what? Who are you giving that to and why? You say they physical. Yeah. But are they going to be able to outscore a Shador with the actual line? That's my question. Are they going to be putting a lot of pressure on him? That's what you said. He's not going to be able to throw the ball, even with a run game. The defense going to be giving up a lot of touchdowns. Where is the problem? Where are we seeing the problem at? Because the secondary is going to be pretty depth. It's going to have a lot of depth. Linebackers, I don't think have a lot of depth, but we could even be underestimating them because we got some guys returning from last year who didn't play. We didn't get a lot of transfers in linebacker, but if Wester can hold it down and we can get another guy, I don't know if it's Bentley. I don't think it's Trevor Woods, but we can find just one more guy to be on the field. Maybe it's Kennedy. Maybe Kennedy step on up. He played a little in last year. He was injured. Maybe it's Gant. Gant was hurt most of last year. They can be fast because they're going to have to cover anyway in this defense. What type of team would we have if we just find one more linebacker? Because you got to think about the type of defense they run. A lot of guys can be coming in that box, safeties, and they're going to look like linebackers. So it's going to help out with that run. But, like I said, we got time. I'm Greg with Greg Said. And make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Check out the sponsors in the description. And I'll talk to y'all soon.